right? Call lawyer, Leah Halabah Shemiel Shai, Ba'ashem Rachah Kodash, that is all praises to the Most High, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit, in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, as the scriptures say that a man is to keep the praises on his mouth, on his tongue, and his lips on a constant basis, and we do so at the intros of these lessons, and pretty much on a constant basis. Okay, incessantly give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai, as well as our due honor and praise unto Yahushai. All right. Double honors to the apostles and elders that are most on that rule well, and shalom to the hopeful elect. When the people snap out of it, they're gonna snap. All right, is a phrase that the Spirit dropped on me in reference to the masses of the people when they realized that they've been getting bent over by not only the powers that be, but then the fucking henchmen for the powers that be, which are these government officials. All right, from them on down, from the elites on down to, those lower level government officials, politicians. Because if you don't think that they are aware and complicit and actually are participants in the fuckeries that is the standard of living, the way that the masses of the people have to live, which is in a terrible fucking estate, then you'd be sadly mistaken. Okay, not only are they aware that you people, your standard of living is in the fucking toilet, which the standard of living has to do with all the costs associated with life. Okay, from rent or housing, mortgage, to the wages, okay, to expenses, right? Fucking utilities, fucking all that goes into what people have to pay out, because that affects your pretty much your conditions, okay? When the conditions are fucking deplorable at this current time, and it's only getting worse. Fucking inflation at an all-time high, okay? The aforementioned expenses people have are at an all-time fucking high, and the wages are not commensurate with those expenses, okay? So it's only a tighter squeeze and a adversely affecting these factors. All right. When something is worsened, right? It's pretty much exacerbating these factors, okay? Which exacerbate means to significantly make it worse. All right. But your money is nigga talks about my money's long and shit. Well, your money is not stretching the length of what it needs to even pay for the cost of living, right? So when the people, when they realize that they've been getting fucked over, they're gonna fucking lose it, okay? And they're gonna start going after them that were responsible for this shit. See, because they don't really have access and even knowledge of who the elites are, even their fucking identities. And this was the purpose why they stayed in the fucking shadows, okay? But the ones that they can get their hands on are going to be the people in the other positions of government, motherfucking CEOs. What happened to the CEO of that insurance company? They got his fucking head blown off. Okay? Walked up right behind him in broad motherfucking daylight on a public street and put one into the back of his fucking cranium, in the back of his skull. Okay? This is what's going to be happening. All right, another example of that is that Edomite who went up into the Pelosi's home. It was only happenstance that what's her name, Nancy wasn't home. Okay, but he got his hands on Paul Pelosi. All right, they're gonna start raiding you motherfucking politicians' homes. Okay. Your little private security or whatever you have is not going to stop a clan of people with heavy artillery coming after you. Okay, and these is dictated in the scriptures. It talks about the uproars and the uprisings of the people, and then how in conjunction to the prophetic timeline, to prophecy, conjunction to the end, how close the end would come after that, or how close how the end would be nigh when you started to see those indicators. And we see them, all right? that is a, it's one of the driving factors of the end of the society. Uprisings, uproars of the people, protests. And we know how these things are fucking skyrocketing. Okay? You had one that went down yesterday that got violent over there in, I'm not sure exactly what state it was, but it was one against billionaires. Let's see if I can pull that up through the spirit. Protest against billionaires. Bulgaria has massive fucking protests going down right now for corruption, protesting against the corruption that is that society. Motherfucking Tanzania. Okay, those are some ones that are happening in other countries, but see. But the primary is going to be here because this is the Great Babylon. This is like the premier country of the planet. All right, it's the spearhead for the Beast Empire. Right, and it's still considered in many aspects the motherfucking the world superpower, the world's only superpower. Look at this. Billionaires are spending massive sums on politics. A backlash brews. People over billionaires. A march through wealthy neighborhood targets the 1%. Okay? But this went down yesterday. Okay? Protesters and counter-protesters showed up in Brooksville, Indiana, reflecting a debate rippling across this country. Okay? That billionaires have shit on lock because this place is fascist. It's a fascist society, which means it's the merging of corporate and government, which is not supposed to, how much money somebody pays shouldn't dictate how the laws are being passed. Okay, the legislation of a certain society, that's actually wicked as fuck, and that's corrupt. See? So now people with money, the stolen bread, can take this money and fucking pass legislation that is gonna fuck people over. Okay? That pretty much supports their own interests. Okay? And when they find out, another thing, massive what they call profligate spending and what is that word? Of course, it's under the umbrella of corruption, but it has to do with the skimming of budgets. Okay, a lot of these politicians are skimming off fucking budgets. Okay, all this taxpayer money that is that's being funneled in to these different funds, and these budgets are being fucking straight up robbed by these different politicians. Okay, there's one in the smaller government. I believe it was the city of Bell or Bellfire, if I'm not mistaken. They just exposed, like, there was supposed to be, I think it was something between 5 and 10 million that they allocated that amount of money for this new, what they call that, like a recreation center or something along those lines. You know, a park, a center in that city. And years and years went by after they allocated this money for it, based from taxpayers' bread, of course. And what happened? It found out that the the fucking mayor, or people in the local government, they stole the money. They just took the fucking money. And there's countless examples of this. These politicians, and from low-level government all the way up to the top, they're taking your money, all your hard-earned taxpayer fucking dollars. Okay, and the people they're going to go on a massive fucking rebellion, and they're going to go on killing sprees. Okay, to put it bluntly. But let's go into it. It was just revealed that what happened with this ICE bullshit. There's been hundreds of billions of dollars that of taxpayer money that they're using to round up fucking. They are directing that at so-called illegal immigration. All the resources that it takes to fund those operations from the equipment, right? Vehicles, fucking apprehension equipment, meaning to apprehend, meaning to arrest people, right? Handcuffs, fucking tasers, fucking batons, of course, firearms, okay, holsters, bulletproof vests, all this shit you see that goes into, what they call that, immigration enforcement, illegal immigration enforcement, and all this, right? And then to pay the actual the agents, right? Which that money, the taxpayer bread, is supposed to be fucking allocated to something that's more beneficial to the masses of the people. All right? So this is going to end very fucking ugly. And we're coming into that time. All right? Let's go straight into the scriptures. Because this is an indicator how close we are. It's in 2nd Esdras 9 and 3. So listen, I'm actually going to start here. Salakia. I'm actually going to start here in Jeremiah 51st chapter. Because according to that statement, when the people snap out of it, they're going to snap. Okay? And we'll go into what that means. When you snap out of it, the people are there in a daze. It's like they're in a fucking stupor. A drunken fucking stupor. Let's define it by AI and then go into the precept in Jeremiah. What the fuck is the AI for that? AI overview. It says, to snap out of it is an informal English phrase to tell someone to suddenly and quickly change from a negative state. No, that ain't it. Let's see. Let's see. Snap out of a stupor. The phrase snap out of a stupor means to suddenly and quickly recover from a state of mental or physical numbness, dullness, or an undesirable mood. Okay? And it's the people are in a state of fucking mental numbness, state of mental dullness, a state of, fuck, what is that word? Docility. State of being fucking docile. When your senses are numbed. Okay? Your fucking, your mental awareness isn't there. Okay? Complete lack of awareness of what the fuck is going on. Just like when you're fucking drunk. Okay? You're mentally impaired. And you don't know what the fuck is going on. With certain people, you see them when they're blacked out drunk. They have no idea what the fuck is going on. That's how a lot of bitches they'll get raped, you know? When they're in that state, so much so that they pass laws to say if a bitch is fucking blacked out drunk, you can't, they can be considered rape if you deal with her. Okay? You see it in all the movies and shit, like, that's what goes down. Okay? And also your inhibitions, which inhibitions are good in a certain sense, in certain aspects. It's good to have fucking inhibitions, okay? Because an inhibition, the root word to inhibit, it prevents you from doing dumb shit, okay? Let's see. There it is, look, to snap out of it. See, that's the real one. In a formal phrasal verb, meaning to stop being in a negative condition or mood, it says here it is, a daydream. Often making a conscious effort. See, stupor refers to a state of near unconsciousness. See, it's like the people are fucking dreaming. And that's what they call it, to be lulled to sleep. People have been lulled to sleep. And there's another term like that. They're in this motherfucking matrix. And they don't realize that they're getting fucked. Okay? They're getting fucked over. In more ways than one. Okay? They're getting all their fucking, the whole standard of living is trash. Okay? They're getting all their fucking hard-earned money. They're paying these taxes and all these expenses just for 1% of the population to have all the fucking the wealth. Okay, when there's enough wealth to go around. Okay, you gotta understand the money doesn't just go down the drain somewhere. It's when you look at the classes, different class systems, or like the different classes, right? Low class, middle class, upper class. Money is just, all wealth is a shift. It just gets shifted. It didn't go down the drain of like, we're running out of money. No, It's just that the top is absorbing the majority of the wealth. And the more that they get, the less you get, the more that they get. Okay? So it's increasing that low population, Slovakia, the societal class is, the low class is fucking swelling. And, you know, and it's driving that gap. It's widening the wealth gap. Okay? That's the only reason why your conditions are getting fucking worse. Okay? Is they're stealing your fucking money. You know? It says, a stupor refers to a state of near unconsciousness or insensibility, characterized by a lack of critical mental function and responsiveness to typical stimuli. See? Says, therefore, to snap out of a stupor is to suddenly return to one's normal, aware, and active state of mind from a condition where one is mentally absent or numb. Okay? And that's what the people are going to do. They're going to snap out of that stupor that they're in when they realize it. And who's ultimately going to cause that is the Heavenly Father. Okay? He's going to wake them the fuck up. Because what it showed, like, the people are basically asleep. Okay? That's why they call it, when you do realize what's going on, and then you come to that state of awareness. It's called to be woke, which is a niggerly fucking term. Because woke isn't even really, it's awakened. Tired of this fucking nigger ebonics. Fucking, you know, very, very, Salakia. It's sottish. It's fucking sottish. Okay? And it Salakia for all this fucking commotion. It basically, it exacerbates this state. See? In point and case in point. These sottish fucking spics. Okay? But it's asinine, okay, and it only further exacerbates this behavior of being fucking out of it, okay, not realizing what the fuck is going on. So then you get bent the fuck over. You don't even realize it, okay. It's in Jeremiah 51 and 7. Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh Shem Shai's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Okay? And you think if the nations have been drunk with this Babylonian wine, which is the philosophy, and not just the philosophies, it's everything from its philosophies to the different systems that this place upholds. Fucking democracy, you know, these different, economic system of America has been, the other nations have adopted that shit. But if it did so made the other nations drunk, how much do you think it made the inhabitants of its own nation fucking drunk? They really get the uncut. They get even a stronger form of that fucking wine here. So they're even more fucking drunk. The citizens of Babylon. Okay, so they're fucking drunk. And when they snap up out of that shit, they're gonna snap. Okay, they're gonna go in a rage. And they're gonna start straight up putting people to death. They're gonna crash the fuck out, as these modern day niggers say it. You know, and everyone adopts nigger culture. So everybody's talking about crashing out. Edomites are talking about crashing out and all this, which I personally can't fucking stand this niggardly lexicon. All right. It's another shit they say, the bag and all that shit. It shows you how many steps back the intelligence of the people has gone. Okay. Very simple. But look, the people, they're going to go on a rampage. Okay. They're going to start killing people, their loved ones. Okay. They're going to start their neighbors, their coworkers. But really, they're going to start going after as aforementioned, they're going to start going after these government officials, politicians, and them that were really responsible for exacting these adverse conditions upon them. Okay? The responsible party, which is primarily, they're what the scriptures say, they're kings and princes. It says, look, therefore the nations are mad. So not only the nations are going to be mad, and we know how that's going to, what that's going to transpire, or Salakia, what that is going to translate to, right? These other nations are going to they're going to shoot missiles at this place. They're actually going to empty out their nuclear missile arsenals on this place. All right? And that's even according to the Heavenly Father's influence. Because it said, Heavenly Father is going to cause them to think an evil thought. See? It said, let us invade this place. See, they're not only going to just invade this place by sending their troops over here, but see, they're going to invade this place by sending by Salakia, shooting missiles on this motherfucker, man. See? Isn't it likened in the scriptures? The missiles are likened unto troops. Okay? So that's likened unto them sending their troops over here. Sending their fucking missiles over here. Alright? How about that? So the nations have become mad, but how much? What's going to be the rage level of the Americans when they realize their own government has been fucking them? Okay? They're going to snap. And that a mental snap is, let's go ahead and grab that in the AI. Meaning, for a person to snap. Look, for a person to snap means they suddenly lose emotional control, often breaking from calm to intense anger, frustration, or irrationality due to built-up stress, becoming overwhelmed, or a final trigger, acting sharply and without thought, like a sudden break or outburst. It signifies a rapid shift from composure to an uncontrolled emotional reaction, sometimes called losing it. Okay? So they're going to go from that sleep state to an uncontrolled state. So much so that nothing you do is going to be able to quell that. no bribe, you know. Nothing, nothing you try and do is going to get them to to uh, to pretty much to desist to cease from carrying that out, right? They're gonna fucking lose it. What does they say? When the people have nothing to lose, they lose it. But no, when the people snap out of it, they're gonna fucking snap. Let's go back into this. That second address 9. And we're not gonna get the one in Matthew, but it mentions the same thing about uproars of the people. Does it not? And then that was the question that the apostles asked Yahushua would be indicators of the end. When is the end going to be? Right? In the second address 9 and 3, therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. And when you go into verse 5, this is telling you that these are signs of the end, that the end is manifest. When you see those two things. But that's just two of many. But why does it mention those two? Because those are very significant in pretty much on the spectrum of prophetic events. Major fucking events on the spectrum of prophetic events is uproars of the people. Because it's the people pretty much fighting back against oppression. All right? So let's go into it. Let's finish that off. Second at just 15. It's going to be like during the French Revolution when they fucking, because you got to know that historically that started with protests, right? They were protesting against the oppressive measures that were put upon those feudal serfs, those fucking peasants, where the French nobility, they were fucking hoarding the resources and the wealth, right? And they started with them saying, vocalizing their dissatisfaction with the conditions of living, conditions they were fucking subject to them saying, fuck it. We just gotta put these motherfuckers to death. We gotta start killing these fucking nobles. Right? So they stormed the Bastille. It's exactly what's gonna happen. And this time it's gonna graduate from these bitch-ass little protests with fucking picket signs to them going, remember that whole shit with the pitchforks and torches and shit? Right? That was like pre-firearm days. But now they're gonna go with fucking sword in hand. Right? So modern day sword is the gun. Really any fucking killing instrument they can get their hands on. Right? Starting at second at just 15 and 15. For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. Right? With weapons. Right? In multiple forms. It says, for there shall be sedition. Let's get that word. Spirit. Beautiful. Conduct or speech inciting people to rebel. Did we use that term, rebellion? It's going to be a very fucking violent rebellion. Uprisings, uproar. Okay, because an uproar, because when somebody roars, that it's somewhat indicative of you just vocalizing something. Because roar, when you go into it, means to say something, right? To yell. So it's going to go from an uproar to an uprising, meaning simply break that down to rise up. They're going to rise the fuck up. All right? You're going to get rowdy. It's going to get rowdy. Okay? It says to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. And it's going to be that whole, what would you call that? It's like a whole, pretty much group. Can't think of the term right now. But that whole, pretty much, those different positions. Okay. I can't even fucking think of it right now. But okay, those offices, those different offices that the people hold of, just as we talked about, from low-level fucking mayors to governors, right? People in higher political positions, right? Government officials, politicians, even lobbyists, as well as them that fund these different politicians and shit like that, and political movements. Just as we went into these billionaires, because they are the corporate arm of that fascist of fascism. There's the two parts of fascism, which is corporate and government, that have been merged. So you have these politicians that are in the pockets of these corporations, these multi-billion-dollar corporations, okay, which comprise those billionaires, right, that are funding these different fucking politicians, and therefore they push legislation that is optimal for the corporations that support the corporations and fuck over the peons. Okay? So they're in the same wise, they're going to go after the government arm of fascism as well as the corporate. So they're going to go after these billionaires, as we just saw the billionaires protest. What did they call that shit? See the title of that again, Slovakia. Said it was from 4 weeks ago. Come on. Workers over billionaires. God damn it. Let's see. Workers over billionaires. I guess that's straight. Let's word this another way. That's straight. You get the just. All right. Finish it off. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. So they're gonna invade. They're gonna invade your homes. They're gonna invade these government buildings, right? Just like during the French Revolution, they went up into your castles and your chateaus of the French nobility, into their different establishments. Because I believe the Bastille, that was just one fucking storming that they did, right? Which I believe they went up into their armaments, like armaments are like your artillery, right? An establishment for artillery. They went up in there, okay? Stormed up in there and shit. Let's see. Storming of the Bastille. A fortress and prison that symbolized the French monarchy's tyranny. Okay? Yeah. So the event marked a turning point in the French Revolution, demonstrating the people's power to challenge the monarchy. Okay. Let's see. What other buildings were stormed? Besides the Bastille. Hotel des Invalides, where Parisians seized thousands of muskets, right? Customs posts, Saint Lazare Monastery Hospital, okay? Tuileries Place. See that? The Louvre. Hotel de Ville, City Hall. There you go. They're gonna run up in all these fucking spots. The motherfucking White House. Okay. The government buildings. See? Okay. It says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And of course, a lot of people are going to die, but they're going to put a lot of people to death. But do you think they give a fuck about any of that? They're going to have a spirit of reckless abandon at that point. Right? They won't give a fuck if they get killed. Because at that point, they have snapped. Right? And see, the course of their actions shall stand in their power. It doesn't mean that it's going to be completely lawless, necessarily. In some instances, for sure. Because it's going to be anarchy. Right? But not necessarily in every instance is it going to be the fact that it's lawless. But it's simply going to be that they're going to ignore those laws, okay? The course of their action is going to stand in their power because they're going to do whatever the fuck they want, whether the law's dictated or not. They're going to invade that shit, and they're going to say no. And what's going to be the course of their action when they snap? They're gonna go on a fucking killing spree. It's gonna be a fucking bloodbath. All right. So with that, call Elohim Liel Bashim El Shai Bashur Kodash.